Save 50 to 60% on sports from Style and Club Tracker Club. Club room and Alfani red dress shirts and ties now $18.99.
Hey, we're gonna move the banners up on the up on the wall.
An extra 25% on select fine jewelry. And get 50% off Tracker Club 500 Wednesday Massachusetts. Get the lowest prices of the season now at Macy's. Tickets on regular sales prices.
Oh my god. No.
But I never went that way. I won't go that way.
I think one of my glass straps like leaks.
I'll go the way that I came to.
My clips are like all wandering.
Yeah. That's not the way that my GPS
right, scissors, combs, clips. Do it. You like to do a lot of work at the end of the day.
Watch you.
Do we have any more tripods?
I have.
You do.
They do in the bathroom.
No, that totally freaked me out. I was like,
What, the veterans? No?
no.
That's the way to go.
I know, but how am I gonna get a thing in the mail for that? Because my tax are still from Kansas.
Oh, because you just read this.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'm not saying, you didn't hear it from me, but I know, like, my friend and I lived down here for a year, and he never paid a single toll.
Yeah, but I'm in trouble.
You're not getting in trouble. They're gonna bill you.
I was like, why didn't you just go do it? He's like, oh, they'll work you.
You'll just, you're fine. They're gonna send you something in the mail, and then you're gonna.
Yeah, but it was in Kansas. My tax is still Kansas tax.
Oh.
Do you have a Florida address thing for that?
Just, no, because if I sent everything to Aunt's house in Kansas, because I can't get I have to wait till next month to get my insurance down here, my car insurance.
When you can, go to Walgreens and purchase it. Yeah, I just now.
It freaked me out. I got on there. I was like, what do I do?
I was mad too. I was like, what? Like the first time ever, I was so angry. I don't want this. I want to pay cash. I was so mad. I was like, I want to pay cash. And then they just send it to the mail and just go online and pay it. It's easy. And then last night, well, you know, it's kind of easier if you just, when you get it in the mail.
My what?
Go online. Full white plate.
Doesn't wear it.
And then, I just know what money in my son has. I can now take the veterans.
Are you up? Are you up?
I wasn't. I used.
We're starting now. Dawn just texted me.
Yeah, it was. I was so mad. I was upset about that too.
Which one is mine?
Scary.
Okay.
Why? Hallie left her house at 8, she said. It's so bad. Oh, she'll be there late? It's accident. Where is she? She was watching Rock and Bob last night. You met your mom? You met her mom?
Well, online. That's
Online.
Yeah.
This film is too small.
I need to start reading again.
No, it's not. Oh, it is one more.
I have to find the right time.
To work out.
All right, so guys and the girls, and mostly girls. Yes, grab a head.
You're not gonna count
Yeah.
Pat as a guy?
Oh.
Where's that in here, right?
Alright, I'm gonna give you 2 head shakes.
I got a whole bunch of these.
I have 1.3 and 1.4.
I have a lot of these in my thing.
That's fine.
I have a few.
More the merrier.
I want some makeup. That'd be awesome.
Make some.
Makeup.
Oh, makeup.
No, no, I have.
I have some, like those big face head sheets. I have so many.
We drew on the wall last night.
Not at least not my mom. No, I said I have like a bunch of makeup sheets.
Ah.
It was just in my binder.
Makeup class. My teacher was so like she taught this like really different. I hated it. We can only do something. No. She would like tell us like a story, like a third grade story. You're like so in the right place.
What?
I said you're like so in the right place. with your funky style, like you totally are. I was looking at your boots and I'm like, those boots remind me of Andy's boots. Like, don't you have shoes like that?
I did.
I swear. I know none of that.
Alright, Alan, we just have 2 head sheets right over there. Go ahead and grab 2 head sheets. We're gonna go ahead and get started today, guys. Time past due. Alright, welcome. You guys, we're gonna be doing 2 haircuts today. The 1.3 and the 1.4. What I really love about these haircuts is that not only are they fast, easy, but they completely sculpt a haircut for a guest who has a ton of hair and wants some fabulous layers, or somebody who has really long hair and they're like, oh, I don't want any length off at all. I just want to trim, and they're holding up, you know, the size of their nails sticking out, and you're like, oh gosh. But you know that they need some kind of movement. So I'm going to be demoing the 1.3 today, or the 1.4 today, and you guys are going to be working together and cutting the 1.3. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the 1.4. So this is somebody who has longer hair. They don't want any really length off. They just want a few layers up in the front, you know, like 2 layers. I just want 2 layers up in the front. You hear that all the time.
That's strange. 2 layers.
And what would it mean to you if you had a guest who had a lot of hair, long, but your other guest just walked in, and you're like, I have no time to do a haircut. But now that we do, we have the 1.4. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to part the hair right down the middle, center part. I'm going to find where the apex is, the high point of the head. And I'm going to part from that right behind the ear, the mask away. So I've got these 2 sections in front, right up in the front. I part that right off. So you're asking your guest, okay, so where do you want that shortest layer to be? And you're also looking in the mirror because you're looking at their bone structure. You want to kind of pinpoint where you want those layers to fall around the face. So for me, when I'm looking at them, I look at their features. What is something that I really want to bring out in their face? Do they have some beautiful, gorgeous, voluptuous lips? Do I want to point those arrows towards the lips? Or maybe she has some really nice cheekbones. Maybe I want to start that layer right there.
What's an arrow? What are you talking about?
Well, the point from where that hair starts, think of where that hair is cut. Think of it as an arrow. Think of it as pinpoints on the face where you want somebody's eyes to go when they're looking at somebody's haircut or hairstyle. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to make a diagonal back section here, about the width of my comb. And Becky, I'm sorry if you can't see me. Turn this over right here. So now I'm working with that first section here. Combing it down, combing it forward. Since I'm a lefty, I'm going to start on the left-hand side. You guys are righties, so you'd be starting on the right-hand side. No lefties here, right? Right.
You're very
I know. So in my case, if I'm standing on the right-hand side, I'm going to be cutting up into my section. That's why I choose to start on the left-hand side, because it's easier for me to establish my sections over on here, and then to borrow a piece from the other side, and then I'm able to go ahead and cut up into it. But in your case, think of it as a mirror. Whatever I'm doing, you're going to do. So I have my first piece. If it's too large, just go ahead and take half of that section here. And you're going to point your fingers towards their face. So it's gonna cause you to cut in an angle.
When I tried to do this haircut, the challenge I was having, I think I had too much hair. Yeah, because I was like, what? And I couldn't grasp.
Yeah. So that's definitely a challenge that I found this a little bit of for. So sorry, Becky,
No, you're not. Go ahead.
So now I'm right here.
Are you going?
Yeah, right there. So then I'm gonna take my scissors and I'm gonna cut down to the second knuckle, right there. So now I've established this guy, right? So then I'm gonna comb the rest of the hair into it, and it's pretty much set that for me. So again, I'm pointing my fingers, I'm giving it a little bit of an elevation. So whenever you're cutting from short to long, we consider this more of a, what kind of shape?
Round.
A round shape, exactly. So I'm cutting right into that length. And depending on how much length you want to take off is how much you're going to establish up here, because then you can really carve into it and create that C shape, right? Yes. And going all the way down, right into it. Then I'm going to take my next section, diagonal back, and we're just working in these segments. The front two segments, yep. I'm going to comb that section into my first section, so it's going to be a stationary guide. Because now I'm pulling all this hair from back here up over here. So what's that going to do? It's going to leave length in the back.
Same elevation.
Yeah. So whenever you're building weight around the face to the back, we consider building weight a graduation. So the shape is round, the technique is a graduation. So this is long, round graduation. So now I have my fingers pointed towards the face here. I'm going to find my guide from the previous section, and I'm going to cut right into that. Same thing, I'm going to comb into that previous section, point towards the face, see I'm establishing that length, cutting right down into that length. And the last section of the first panel here, same thing, comb, comb.
Are we going to be, I know last time we did this, we didn't really cut, we just did the motions. So are we going to do that with this one?
Katrina, what's the answer?
We're gonna cut.
Huh?
Hold on. Yes?
No, I meant
What's the
like,
answer?
Yeah, we're gonna cut.
Which one?
no, that's not, no. I meant because I know we're going to do the concave, convex layers, that's, you know. But, are we going to be able to, do the hair motions? I know we're not cutting,
This is a demo, but we're really going to focus on the 1.3 today because we really want to see, we really want to go over the convex and the concave layers.
Okay, because I know, like, I kind of need
That's what you're supposed
So
to
this
say.
haircut starts in
No,
the
you
front.
can,
Yes.
but just with this one, you know, the main thing we thought with this one is just to go through explaining what you're seeing up there, so we can, the majority, because what you're gonna do when you bring in your model is the next haircut. So we wanna spend the majority of the time on that haircut. Get the hands in.
Cool. So now I've moved to the back section here. So this is going to be from behind the mastoid and back.
This is after the front two are done.
This is after the front panel is done here.
Just the one.
Yes. So now I'm creating a pie section all the way down. And I'm going to comb that into the section 1, which is the stationary guide. This whole haircut is stationary. And then you're going to see how less and less hair travels depending on the length that you've already started out with. right? And cutting into it, pointing towards the face. If you were standing on this side, your right side, towards the face. Face. Towards the face, just swinging that around. I'm taking my next section. I'm taking my third section. And on the fourth section here, it's gonna go either right to that center back, or it's gonna go a little past the center back. If I were to go right into the center back, and then continue to go up here and work on the other side of the haircut in the front, what that's gonna do is it's gonna leave a V in the back. It's gonna be more predominant. You have a lot of guests, I know I do, oh, I want that V.
I like the V.
The V is really, really flattering. It gives you the appearance of having a smaller waist when you have longer hair like that. You know, it brings that eye right to that waist, but it brings you in. So you look like that hourglass, you know, shape that every man loves.
So kind of going back to some of the key points as she's taking her next section here, is remember the arrows. So you can use that, we look at the hair as an arrow, like arrows point at things. So if you bring the hair to a point in the middle of the back, it's going to point at the small of the back. So when I look at her or whoever, you know, from behind, my eyes are drawn in, and it draws in this whole area right here. That's why you see all of the, you know, supermodels and stuff. You ever notice that pretty much most of them, you know, their ideas, they're up there on camera, wherever, they want to look as slim as possible, so they all have those strong V's that go into the middle. Same way she was using the hair around the face, bringing, if I want to bring this out, you know, where would I put the arrow? If I want to bring this point out. Think about when you do makeup, where you know you highlight, it could be above or below. You could put a little bit of a shadow in there, and you put a little light right there, and it makes that kind of come out. If you point that hair underneath, it kind of highlights that area, so it makes the cheekbone come out. You know, so you can use, if you put the hair at the jaw, it's going to bring your eye to the jaw. But what if your jaw is wide? You can put the hair underneath, so you can make that arrow, that point, come underneath, and then it'll bring the face in, it'll slim the face. So you think about the hair as just arrows, and that's when we talk about cutting to bone structure, that's what we're talking about. Where do we want to make the hair go to so we can shape and mold the face through the illusion of light and the eyesight and contouring, and it's all about that same kind of concept you would do with the highlight and color, or highlight with makeup, shadow, eyeshadow. Same thing over here, the bones, how do you bring them out, put them in, change the colors. With the face, light around the face is going to do what? Open and close if you want to darken it. So it's the same kind of concept, you're just doing it now with an actual fabric. You're cutting it, just like clothes, you know, you cut it and stitch it and slim it and trim it to shape the face into that oval, whatever.
Perfect face shape.
Especially for us makeup artists. That was awesome. So now going back to the center part, it's giving them more of that V shape. What if I went a little bit past that center part and then brought all that forward? What that's going to do, it's going to soften the roundness of that shape. So it's going to give it a more rounded shape rather than a V, that hard line. Make sense? Yeah. So now I've completed this side. I'm going to go over to the other side. And this one for me, I have to stand more in front of my guest. So your body position is really important when you're switching over to the other side.
We'll be cutting hair now, okay?
No, I'm not gonna
I
do
hear
it.
him over here taking notes.
Well, no, all you know I'm taking is that word.
All right, so I'm creating my next section on the other side, no wider than my comb. Clicking that out of the way. And the more and more you do this, the more easier it's going to become, the faster you get at it. You know, it's really important at first to take those sections, those smaller sections, so that you know exactly how to construct the haircut, how it's going to fall on the face, you know? And then the more you do them, the easier it's going to become. The finer hair, the finer fabric that you're working with, the lesser hair that you're working with, you can take bigger sections. Especially, you know, if you don't have a lot of time, you have a green comb in the living room. You know, what would it mean to you if I took that whole section of somebody who didn't really have a lot of hair, pull all that forward, take my carving comb and carve that right out. But that's
Even though I'm right-handed, I found this side to be more challenging.
on the right side.
Yeah.
So you get your cream from the other side?
Yeah, you're going to grab your clue from the other side, and it's going to point right towards there. So now, I can either have my guests turn their head a little bit, which is probably easier for you, while I'm standing in front of them, and moving towards this way. You're going to have your guide right up in here. So my suggestion would be to cut a little bit up into that guide from the other side, your clue. And then once you have that, go ahead and mark that back down the middle, and then you're able to see exactly where it goes. You'll see that my guide is right here, and then I'm going to cut right up into it.
Okay.
Once you've made that first section, check for a balance on both sides, you know? Because once that hair is off, that hair's off. You can't put that on.
Okay, so you bring it, you know what my problem was? I think I was bringing it too forward from her face. So you bring it at an angle from her, like,
Yeah.
just right, okay. Because that's, that was the problem I had when I was trying to do this haircut on the guest. And everyone was busy, and Jenna was busy, and I had no time for anyone to help me. So I was like, oh my God. I had to wing it, and it did
So
come
as I'm
out
going through this, you want to keep in mind a graduation is a graduation from 1 to 45 degrees, right? Or 89.
45.
Okay. 45.
So you got 89 different versions of it.
Yeah, 45 is safe.
So if you think about that, it's what's going to determine on what degree you lift the hair. How are you going to determine that?
Whether you want it to be like more angled and straighter, you can make it completely like this, or if you want it to be, I guess depending on the angle you want the hair to fall at.
Now thinking about lifting versus, so degrees, we're talking what?
Oh, preserving length or
Elevation, right? So elevation. So what is going to determine how high you lift it or how low you keep it? The angle.
And what point you want to go to?
the length, the weight,
The weight. Because remember, when you lift the hair and cut it, what do? You remove more weight or less weight?
Okay.
You remove more weight. So the lower you keep it, what is it going to be? Thicker?
More weight, less weight.
Which means it's what? If you have more weight, you're
More movement.
less weight is
Less movement.
I'm looking for a word. It's not
Oh my
light.
God!
Heavy.
Oh.
Heavier than light. We don't want to. When we talk about weight, we want to talk about things getting lighter or heavier. So I'm just working on the terminology. So I don't want you to think if I keep somebody's hair lower, if I keep the elevation lower, their hair is going to be thicker. That has to do with density. That's hair per square inch. I want you to think about lighter versus heavier. So if she has already. Maybe she has fine hair and not a lot of it. Maybe I want to keep more weight on her head. What would I do with the elevation? I would make it less. So when you think about graduation, just think about it. Do I want it lighter or heavier? The lighter I want it, the higher I lift it. If I lift it past 89, it's going to start to layer the hair, which is the lightest form of a haircut, which would be your layers. If I want to keep it lower, then I'm going to leave it heavier. So just think about it in terms of when you think graduation. Because a lot of times in school, I know, we learned our graduation, our cutting cards, every graduation haircut, it just said elevation, it said 45 degrees. That's like a cookie cut. That says that I'm trying to lift it at 45, but that doesn't work in everybody. Because you have a lot of hair, I may need to lift it at 69, 83, 72, 71, 46. So you determine it. That's where you as the designer you determine the amount of weight by the elevation that you choose. So there's,
So you
Go
see
ahead.
how
It
much
would be lower than 45 degrees.
definitely, totally.
I think they do that in school so that you get down the basics and you're not too overwhelmed. Because I would have been overwhelmed. I would have been like, what?
Well,
Cutting already is scary for me.
They fixed it. It was a discovery.
Yeah.
They fixed it after a few years. You know, they changed that in the material. It was a discovery because we were all learning. Well, much of the school was learning even. Right?
Yeah.
And now, if you look, it says 1 to 89.
I actually
Haircuts
love
are like
geometry. I really did, yeah.
So you see how much hair I have in my hand when I raise the elevation. I lower the elevation. So yeah, now I work through the front panel here. And I'm gonna take those pie sections again. Combing it right into that first section and working your way all the way around, whether you want to stay to the middle back, stop right there, or if you want to go one past the center just to give it a little bit of softness on that round shape. So now I've completed that. This is the top view of what it looks like. You know, having that angle.
Well, that was what it looked like. Now, now it's fully.
It'll be all right. Just gotta plug it in.
Do you guys have any questions on this haircut?
Wait, can you just do okay, so your finger was going down, or no?
What
Sorry,
side?
do that one more time. Just do that one more time.
Fingers are going
She's a
forward
lefty.
to the face.
I know.
Going down.
Okay.
So really, it would be like this, but
But if I were right-handed, I'm right-handed, so.
yeah.
This is more
Okay.
Righties.
Yeah.
So here you are, righties. I'll step in just for this visual. So if you're on the right side of their head and you're a right-hander, your fingers are going to be pointing towards the face because we're cutting palm to palm. So this is a graduation. So we'd be pointing towards the face and we'd be cutting down. So that's the entire right side. And if you just get that one motion, if you can do the first section of this haircut, you can do the entire haircut because it never changes. Your body position, your finger angle, everything is stationary. So once you establish that first guide, you just keep working all of these sections and it's a onesie. Everything travels to that one spot. So if you get that movement down, you're done with the first side. And then all you gotta do when you go to the other side is just switch it. So on the second side, your sections are still on a diagonal, vertical diagonal back. The hair all travels forward, but now you point away from the head and you cut in.
Have you ever done this haircut and just do that?
Yeah, I've done it. I mean, after I established the first guide, I've taken the entire thing. Like she was saying, in that onesie with like a carving comb. And then with that carving comb, you see that little C kind of shaping that she was talking about. You can kind of see there, it goes short to long. So you're cutting it short to long. So that's the same movement. So my fingers there are pointing out and I'm cutting up. And the sectioning that has that little bit of a curve, when you're doing this, try to put that little bit of a curve in your section. That's something that we kind of, twisted and we kind of broke a lot of the rules because typically you would just put a straight line. But you put that little bit of a curve in there and you cut that straight line even though